Hi guys, how are you all doing? So, what we're doing today is this, assuming that I am recording. I think I am. Yep, I've got a counter on and everything. You got some fun sessions this week in terms of the tutorials online with Stacy, and looking at the sign language for symphony. It is actually for me. It is Thursday, and I'm going to be spending my weekend looking at that, so we can have some fun running through how to sign symphony in the coming week sessions. Today, then, all I've been asked to do is prepare a warm up video. But one of the things I wanted to go through with you, having listened to the recordings from Hard Day's Night and We Are the Champions, which you're all doing fantastic with, I can see, and a lot of you have also fed back, that you're really struggling with your breathing and breathing is it's an ongoing thing. It's not, as I keep using that analogy, it's not a destination. The whole thing's a journey in terms of making our breathing better and making sure that we're breathing correctly. um, Breathing is the driving force behind your voice, okay? And it's the thing that will make you sound great, and it's also the thing that will make you sound not so great. So it really is a case of trying to get to grips with this. So rather than just trying to breathe properly during a warm up that I do with you and then forgetting about it, it is a case of really having to be consistent and persevere with it. So here are some tips and techniques that will hopefully help you. This is all sources. This information is all readily available. It's not as if it's come out of the top of my head. If you search online for breathing while singing, you will come across all of these techniques. So do educate yourselves and have a read up if you know that you're struggling with your breathing. Um, so breathing will support your voice. Singing when there's no breath is a common way of tiring your voice as well. So you need to follow these steps to improve your breathing. So the first thing to do is to try and think about identifying breathing into your diaphragm and kind of how that works. Okay, I often talk about breathing into this. Let me go on my tiptoes. This kind of lower area into where the bottom of your ribs are and where your stomach is. One of the things you could think about doing is if you have like a dressing gown belt or something like that, gently, very gently, don't do anything too tight. Just pop the dressing gown belt around, kind of around your waist area, actually, kind of where your belly button is. And then what I want you to try and do is breathe deeply from the lower part of your lungs. So imagine that you've got that either imagine you've got that ring around your waist, or you've kind of tied, like I say, your dressing gown belt around your waist, and then breathe in and see if you can push against that belt when you breathe in. So you're expanding from that lower area, and it will expand and fill up your lungs from the bottom, and then finally your chest will rise just at the end, just a touch, okay? And then when you breathe, try breathing in through your nose. So breathing in through your nose, and then out through your mouth and nose. And you'll feel when you breathe in, that belt will get tighter, and then that belt will get much looser. It might even just become, might just fall off. When you're doing that, avoid trying to raise your shoulders up. So again, let me take a deep breath in. Let's see how much my shoulders move. So breathing in and then out. See, there's very little movement there in my shoulders. Everything's nice and dropped and relaxed. Only a little bit right at the end, where you can see my chest just rises up just a touch. So do this in front of the mirror and see if you can keep your shoulders nice and low. It is a funny feeling. And when my first couple of weeks at college, I felt like, I just feel like I'm sticking my belly out when I breathe. But you will get there, and you'll get to a point where you feel like you're sticking your belly out, and then you will actually just release into that, and it should just click and register. Another thing you can do to try and isolate how breathing correctly when you sing works is if you lie on the floor, on your back, with your hands on your stomach. If you breathe in, your hands should rise up, and then when you breathe out, they will lower. Um, in that position, it's really difficult to breathe in correctly. It might be that you want to bring your knees up a little bit, so you bring your feet up so that your knees are just up a touch. That might also help you. And again, if you can't feel it with your hands on your belly, pop your hands either side of yourself and pop like a book on your belly, and you'll be able to look down and see the book rise up and go back down. The easiest time to do this is just as you're going to sleep at night. So really think about it when you're nice and relaxed in your bed and you're just dozing off. Take a breath in and feel how that feels when you breathe in and out. That is the kind of breathing we're trying to do when we sing, and that will enable you to increase that capacity, and it will help the richness of your tone and everything, I promise you. Now, exercises that you guys can do. One of the things that you might want to look at is this, is if you think of a pulse, okay, so think of a pulse that's going to work for you, and if you need a metronome, simply go onto Google and type in online metronome, and you'll be able to get a ding, dong, dong, dong. What we're going to try and do is this, is you'll breathe in for 4 counts, so you've got, and then, that was me over dramatizing with my breath so you could hear it, we're going to sustain a hiss for 4 counts. So here we go, and I'm trying to get all of that air out in 4 counts. Now, I must just put a caveat. I'm going through these breathing exercises. Don't go crazy. If you feel lightheaded or like you're going to pass out, just take it easy, all right? So, the next exercise you can then do is, say, for example, is you breathing for 6, so, and then you you hiss for 10. So here we go, and 6. Okay, you repeat that process. So, for example, you breathe in for 6, and then you hiss for 12. Breathe in for 2, then breathe out for 12. Breathe in for 4, hiss for 16. Breathe in for 2 counts, then hiss for 16 counts. Breathe in for 4 counts, and then hiss for 20 counts. And then the ultimate one is breathe in for 1 count, so you go breathe in for 1, and then out for 20 counts in terms of how that comes together. If you go through these as exercises, they will help you monitor your breathing, and they'll ensure that you can last longer phrases. Try and be economical with your breathing. Make sure that the hiss is consistent and it's not louder at the beginning or at the end. You're trying to aim for a smooth sound. So what you might get is a and then at the end you go so just a simple hiss, no notes, nothing like that. You can just do a hiss and try and get consistent on how that sounds. One of the things to think about as well is if you're taking a huge amount of breath in, do you need to take, if you imagine your breath is like a tank of gas in your car, do you need to take a full tank of breath to get 4 counts out? No, you don't. You probably only need to take about a quarter of it to get the 4 counts in. So rather than going, you wouldn't do that. You just go, yeah? So do think about that in terms of monitoring that level of breath, and the consistency of the as well is important. Make sure that you haven't got that big release at the beginning. Try and keep it consistent. Other things you can look at, and I talk about this kind of like snatch breaths. So breathing gradually, taking a full lung of air when you count. Focus on your diaphragm and being careful not to hold the tension in your throat. That's a really important thing as well. On the count of 1, breathe in very quickly, and then do the sustained breath out, okay? So we often talk about, I always talk about the snatch kind of surprised breath. It could be that you can, and that's kind of what we're getting to with that 1 and then breathing out for 20. Try and see if you can do a snatch breath and then breathe out gradually over a long period of time. Other things you can do to sustain a level of breath is, say, for example, if you take a sheet of A4 paper and cut like a slice off it, like a quarter, pop that against the wall and stand, like a hand's width away from the wall, and then take a breath in for a period of time. So maybe 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then see how long you can keep the piece of paper against the wall with your breath, okay? Now, the real difficult thing about these exercises is exactly that, in terms of having to do them like exercises, like you would to get fit, actually. So if I went to the gym and then I went to the gym once and I'm still a bit porky, I'm not really sure why. That's why, because you have to keep going. So with these breathing exercises, it's not going to be enough. If you really want to get better, it's not going to be enough just to do them once a week with me in a session, and that's when I decide to do them because there's many other bits and bobs that I'm doing. But if you really want to improve your singing and you really want to improve how it sounds, working on these breathing techniques every day will help you no end, okay? And stretching and yoga and Pilates and all that kind of really lovely stuff is fantastic. But these exercises I've just given you today will really help in terms of creating a firstly, isolating and understanding how it feels when you're breathing correctly, and then working on that system to make sure that you've got a bit more stamina, a bit more kind of oomph behind your voice, and that will then power and drive your voice and make your voice sound better, and you'll feel more confident with it. Anyway, that's a lot of me talking. I'm so sorry there wasn't too much in the way of singing today. You've got a whole 11 minutes of me just talking about breathing. But do have a look. Google is your friend. YouTube is your friend. Feel free to type into Google and YouTube breathing for singers. And there's many wonderful tutorials out there that will help you with this process. I don't tend to go into it too much in the sessions because it's almost like it's just something you need to do every day. It's just it's a little bit, could be a little bit tedious, but it's in terms of you getting that strength together, it's something that needs to be every day. And in the sessions, obviously, we're running through songs. I'm going through notes and stuff with you. So I'm going to kind of hand that over to you guys to have a little think about and work with over a period of time. Let me know how you get on. Have fun with the tutorials with Stacey this week, and in the coming sessions, we're coming up this week, we're going to look at the end of Bridge Over Troubled Water. I'm going to have a go at seeing how we can have some fun with that signing of Symphony, and then we're going to run a load of songs. I'll send you guys an email probably on Sunday about it, but if I don't see you then, I'll see you soon. Thanks so much, guys. Look after yourselves. Keep singing. Bye, Z's.